Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is season 6, episode 2 of Power. Whose side are you on? Make sure you subscribe to my page, hit the blue bell for the notifications, hit thumbs me up, comment, and share. First things first, I just can't with this new intro, y'all. It's funny because if you look, even the caption reads Joe, not Trey Songz. So I think even the caption people are not for this song. Anyway. So this episode picks up right where the last one left off with, so right now Ghost is hiding behind the little corner watching them tow Tommy's car. So what's crazy to me is, did he really sit there that long for data break, for them to call a tow truck and all that? But the reason he's doing it is because he knows what he did. He kind of crossed the line, so now he's going to have to go in here and face Jason because, why run from it? Okay, so just based off of principle, the fact that Ghost thought that he could roll up on Jason's organization and just shoot up the place over some personal stuff, Jason, he's standing his ground like, that was real disrespectful. But him and Tommy are playing this Tommy's dead to the T. So right now, Jason is seeing a way that he could come up. And it was crazy because Ghost just pretty much gave him the perfect opportunity to be used. So Ghost rolls up in here on Jason like, look, I'm sorry I shot up your spot. Here's a bag full of money. Are we good? Jason was like, wait a minute, I could capitalize off of this. Nah, but we not good. This is how we're going to do this. You're going to give me $100,000 every 2 weeks, and that'll keep me from killing you. So now Ghost is like, he's got all these guns pointed at his head. So it's like, what do? I guess at this point, you just give up that $100,000 every 2 weeks. So now Jason's got another source of income, and it was real smooth how he played that. So meanwhile, Tommy's being Ubered around town in a Toyota Camry because Ghost shot his ride up. And what's crazy is he called up Tariq to set up the Uber. So Tommy, obviously, he's being messy right now because he wants Ghost to know he's alive, but he really doesn't because he doesn't really know what side Tariq plays. He could have had anyone set him up a lift. He could have had one of his homeboys come pick him up if he wanted to really play like he was dead. But what he did was he called Tariq and got him involved in some more mess. So this is going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. So after Tommy's done cursing out the Uber driver, he calls Tariq. And as soon as he gets on the phone with Tariq is like, well, what happened to your car? He already knows what happened because he spoke to his father, a few hours before it happened. So Tariq is still playing both sides, but you don't really know where his loyalty lies. So, yeah. Now, in all the episodes I've seen, this is the first time I've been impressed by Tariq. His little roommate at college, he brings some guy in there because they're selling little drugs or whatever, and he actually brought someone to him. Tariq is supposed to be like the backhand. No one really knows what he's doing. And he's got his little roommate as his flunky pretty much. So he kind of bossed up on his roommate. Like, why would you bring somebody in here and tell them what I've got going on? No one should really know anything about the part that I play in this. They should only know of what you do. So, yeah, Tariq I think he's kind of solidifying his position as is working into becoming his father. But, yeah, I like how they did that. So I'm just going to start calling Joe the priest because everybody wants to come to him and confess their sins. So Ghost come busting through the door. First thing he says is, oh, I killed Tommy. And Joe is like not even mad about it because he's over Tommy anyway. But he is like, Ghost is like, well, I need an alibi. You have to alibi me. And Joe's like, nah, I can't alibi you because the new, state's attorney was at my daughter's recital. So, yeah, I'm not a good alibi. What about Tasha? And he's like, wait a minute, I can't even go to Tasha because we're about to go to our divorce arbitration. I'm going there after I leave here. So, yeah, that alibi is out. So Joe can't hide the peace that he's feeling thinking that Tommy is dead. But Ghost is like, wait a minute. Joe is like, yeah, well, it's best for everyone that he's gone. And Ghost is like, well, that's my best friend. How do you say that? And then Joe kind of like almost gets choked out again because he's like, well, you're the one who pulled the trigger. So I know you're not upset, pretty much. So Ghost is sitting up here replaying the death of Angela and now Tommy and just everything happening so fast. And Joe is like, okay, let's just make sure we're on the same page. You're not attending the funeral, right? And Ghost is like, of course I'm going to Angela's funeral. And in the midst of this, Joe was like, okay, you're insane. He gets a knock on the door and he's being served with papers. So now he has to deal with his own personal issues with his, cokehead ex-wife. So Tommy's trying to tell his crew of instability that, yeah, I'm still going to get you the product and y'all still work under me, but right now I have to play like I'm dead. And everyone's confused, like, what do you mean? So somehow a gun gets pulled because somebody's manhood gets tested. I don't know. They're just a real unstable crew. They're young and they're kind of stupid. So, they wouldn't keep Tommy's secret of him being dead. But yeah, here we are. So Blanca and Jerry are they're rolling up to Tasha's, her hotel room to ask questions about Terry because he's still missing. And, Jerry's trying to tell Blanca, listen, when we go here, don't start asking questions about Angela. We're going to keep this strictly about Terry, stick to the script and pretty much that's the way we're going to work this. But of course, Blanca is kind of a loose cannon and she's just going to do what she wants to do and winds up putting her foot in her mouth so many times. So Blanca just had to take the interrogation route. And she's like, well, do you know what happened in the death of Angela Valdez? And Tasha was like, well, it's always a tragedy when someone dies before their time. Have a nice day, and close the door in her face the same way she should have. Paz is in the office. She's up there cleaning out her sister's desk and, just going through stuff. And of course, this is just a day after her sister is killed. So she's just really emotional. And here comes Sax with his mess. And what he pretty much does is he kind of puts Paz on a different path because, just the day before when he wanted them to when he wanted permission for the autopsy, it was all like, this is on you. I just need this. We can get this. It's a real simple case. Now he's coming in here. He's like, hey, did you find any more information? Hey, I just want to let you know. So there's a hold on your sister's stuff, which means we're not paying for the funeral. And, she's under investigation even though she's dead. And Paz is like, hold on, wait a minute. This is not what you told me when you asked for permission to cut her body open. And he's like, yeah, I know, but your sister didn't do anything wrong, right? So, there's nothing to worry about. And Paz, in the back of her mind, she knows that there is something that there could be something to worry about because she knows that there was a weird relationship between Ghost and her sister. So she's kind of like, now, you pretty much got my permission under false pretenses. And I think she kind of knows that Cooper Sax is up to some mess. So now Tasha and Jamie are in arbitration. She hires a forensic accountant. They find out that he's been hiding money, so he has other accounts. But see, he has an airtight prenuptial agreement with her. And if she initiates the divorce, she gets nothing. So right now she's pissed because it's kind of like this is going to turn into a really ugly fight. So now it's after arbitration. Tasha is pissed. Jamie's waiting by the elevators and she rolls up on him like, wait a minute, so you're not going to give me any money for the kids? He's like, I already give you money, blah, blah, blah. So they're arguing about that. And in the midst of the argument, narcissism Jamie's like, well, I need you to go with me to Angela's funeral. And Tasha's like, you must be crazy. We're not going to your mistress's funeral. And he pretty much puts it to her like, well, if we don't go, then we look like we're divided. If we're divided and I go to jail, you were working with her too. So, she's like, all right, fine, I'll go with you because that does make sense, but you need to leave Tommy alone. Back up off Tommy. This is Ghost's opportunity to tell her, hey, I killed Tommy last night. He's just like, okay, I'll leave Tommy alone, knowing like he's just so deceptive and it always has to benefit him. So he's just like, all right, you right, I'll leave Tommy alone. So Tasha's leaving thinking that everything is going to be okay between them two. Little does she know. So Cooper has put a lot of thought into how he is going to get these people and take them all down. And what does he do? He goes finds Lindsay, which is Joe's cokehead ex. And he pretty much puts it to her like, I'll help you get custody of your child if you can manage to bug your daughter so I can hear what's going on behind the scenes. And see, she's just as sneaky as he is. So he tells her, I like you. And see, she's going to consider doing it because she needs help. So, but with her record, no judge is really going to lean on her side. So Cooper is willing to work with Joe's ex to take them all down. All right, Tommy's here with Lakeisha. They're talking about, the strategy. What's the plan now? Because, he can't play like he's dead forever. And pretty much Tommy's like, I guess, right now I'm not really worried. I'm going to put that on ice. But he's like, I don't want to kill him knowing what it would do to Tasha and the kids. And Lakeisha had the nerve to say, oh, well, he wasn't worried about what killing you would do to me and Cash. Like, they've been married forever. And, like, Lakeisha is tripping, boy. This one here. So right in the middle of their conversation, you hear knock, knock, knock. Lakeisha freaks out thinking it's the police, but it's not. It's Tasha knocking on the door. She's like, hey, girl, listen, I'm really nervous. I've been looking for Tommy. Have you seen him. When I tell you her eye roll said everything, baby, she ain't got no time for Tasha. She opens the door. She lets Tasha see, your boy is here. Tasha gets all excited. She's like, oh, Tommy, I've been looking everywhere for you. Lakeisha jumped right in front of her. I told you don't come to my house. I told you to get on with your life, and slammed the door in Tasha's face. Lakeisha called herself laying down the law. She told Tommy, we are done with that family. That's it. I don't want to hear nothing else about it. So right now, Tommy is rethinking his whole situation. He just like, okay, all right. I ain't going to argue with her. I'm going to leave her alone. But yeah, Lakeisha shows right here in their little exchange that she's not with it. She told him, like, with all this going on, it's made me freak out. I'm thinking about my future. I have a son, blah, blah, blah. And Tommy's just like, yeah, I think he's starting to see that Keisha's not made for this. She's not built for this. Jamie rolls up to his son's school. He's sitting in the dorm, and then Tariq walks through the door, and he's pretty much like, why are you here? His father's like, I gotta tell you something. So he's like, well, who's dead now? My mom or Tommy? Yeah, your Uncle Tommy. And Tariq is like, well, what do you mean my Uncle Tommy's dead? You can see the look at his face. He's confused because he knows he just spoke to Tommy recently. And his father's like, yeah, I killed him last night. And he's like, well, wait a minute, what happened? So now the truth comes out. Your Uncle Tommy killed Angela. He was aiming for me. And now Tariq is like, well, wait a minute, why was he aiming for you? And right then, Jamie had the opportunity to say the truth. I set him up to kill his father, blah, blah, blah. But he played crazy. He's like, I don't know why Tommy was trying to shoot me. And you can see in Tariq's face, once his father lied to him, Tariq went cold. And he's just like, well, whatever. Bye. Before Tariq could clean and put his father out, he hopped on the phone and he calls Tommy. And he's like, hey, Uncle Tommy, my father said this, my father said that, what's going on? Tommy's like, wait a minute. Okay, he's hitting him with all these questions. And so Tommy decides to tell Tariq the truth. Yeah, I did kill Angela. Yeah, I was aiming for your father. And I think right there, because he was honest, Tommy was honest with Tariq picked his side right there at that moment. And he's like, hey, so you got the drop on my dad now because my dad thinks that you're dead. So all that I ask is before you really kill him, just let me know. And you could tell in Tommy's face, Tommy is shook. Tommy's like, wait a minute, what the hell's going on? But he just played it cool. He was like, all right, I got you. Good looking out for not telling your father I was, that I'm alive. And okay. And Tommy's like, wait a minute. So this scene here was epic. So, Rashad Tate with his undercover ghetto ass, he pretty much told James, like, listen, I don't want your shenanigans here. I've been in my office for 18 hours working on my speech, and it better go on without a hitch. And, of course, James is just like, hey, won't be no problems. We'll see. So Tommy and Tasha get together. He's like, hey, Tariq called me. Tariq told me everything that just happened. Tasha's like, I told him not to pick sides, but he did anyway. So she's battling between, do I give Ghost up, give Tommy my blessing in killing my husband, or do I let it rock? And she pretty much told him when we were at arbitration, like, Ghost wouldn't even give me any more money. He wouldn't let me out of this prenuptial agreement. And it pretty much, if he's dead, then she's the beneficiary. So she would get money that way. So Tasha's kind of battling, and Tommy's like, well, if money's ever an issue, no, you just know that you can always come to me. And she's like, not really, because you have Lakeisha. And then boom. So Lakeisha has hit his line 3 times since he's been there with Tasha in the car talking. Tasha's like, listen, the way you get to Lakeisha, buy her some stuff and just pretty much be supportive. And he's like, I don't know. I don't think she really built for this. And Tasha's like, nah, she got you. So pretty much Tasha's going to tell him what to do to keep his woman and hope that doesn't backfire. Okay, so now Paz is going through her sister's stuff, getting her address and everything ready for the funeral, and she finds a phone. So she decides to call the phone. No one answers. Then she texts it like, hey, we need to meet up. And to her surprise, she instantly got a response to the text like, where we gonna meet? So she's setting it up, and I think she's starting to realize, hey, my sister may be into some stuff, but whatever it is, I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. So Joe's ex, Lindsay, a.k.a. I call her the original Lindsay Lohan, gets in court and tries to blame Joe for her drug behavior. But here's the thing. I mean, if I was a judge, I would be like, listen, you're like in your late, mid 40s or so, and you're sitting here blaming somebody else for your drug behavior. There's no way he could get you hooked on cocaine. You just chose to do it when he offered it and became addicted. That's your issue. But anyway, she's in here for the custody battle, and, they wind up asking, the judge winds up asking the daughter, who do you want to be with? She breaks down. Joe's like, you know what, just to put it on ice, I'll go ahead and give my ex joint custody. Let the games begin. Paz is sitting there thinking that she's about to meet with Jamie off of the text messages that they exchanged. And then lo and behold, Tasha rolls up. She's like, wait a minute, I thought you and my sister hated each other. She's like, listen, me and your sister, we had an understanding. It is what it is. And she's like, okay. Paz said, well, my sister did say y'all got along, but I thought it was bullshit. And then Tasha's like, listen, don't even ask no questions about what, our interactions were. Just know that they were. And if you need anything, I'm here. And she's like, wait a minute, I'm confused. Nope, I'm going to just go ahead and take this phone and give it to the police. And that'll be the end of that. Tasha's like, look, you can take this phone and because Paz's main focus is to get Jamie arrested. She doesn't care by any means necessary. Tasha's like, you can do that, but if you do that, just understand that you implicate your sister in a whole bunch of mess, stuff that you wouldn't even dream. So you might just want to keep that phone and keep your composure. This is Tasha's ending her conversation with Paz. Here comes Rodriguez around the corner, and she's back on this Terry Silver thing. She's pinged her phone. She found out Tasha was lying. Tasha admits that she had a little thing with Terry in the parking garage. And she's like, okay, so who wanted to kill him? Because I know it wasn't you. And, what I'm wondering is, how did Blanca know where to find Tasha if she wasn't still pinging her phone? But maybe that'll come out later. So now Thugged Out Tate is up there and he gets asked, what is Jamie St. Patrick's role in your campaign? He's like, listen, we just rented out the spot from him. That's it. Then, of course, somebody goes rogue in the audience and Tate is confused because he said he wanted everybody back-checked, fact-checked and back-checked. But, they're asking him about the jobs and stuff. So he starts to talk about the Queen Project. While this guy is going off in the audience, Jamie saw this as the perfect opportunity to jump in and solidify his alibi so that he can, be covered for killing Tommy. So, Tate saw right through this. After the whole speech, Tate was like, where were you last night since you just railroaded my speech and pretty much solidified what you say to be fact, which is that you worked with me for the last 18 hours on my speech. And all Jamie could say was, don't worry about it. It's good. Tate knows Jamie's up to some mess. Okay, so Tariq asked Tommy to send him the message before he killed his father. Tommy was going to send it, but he deleted it. So now he's outside the event that Tate just had, and for some reason, Jamie's standing outside, but before Tommy could fire off, he gets sacked and bagged and thrown inside of the van. Meanwhile, Jamie's outside straightening up his nice suit, not realizing that he was just about to die. Oh, and behold, it's Jason who kidnaps Tommy. He had his people watching Tommy so Tommy wouldn't kill Ghost, because you have to remember, Ghost just made this arrangement with Jason earlier in the episode where he's going to be paying him $100,000 every 2 weeks. So now there's money involved. So now it's Jason's job to protect Ghost from Tommy and Tommy from Ghost. So Tommy's like, wait a minute, you told me, either I stand, I run, or I fight. Tommy's like, I had the perfect opportunity. What happened? Jason's like, nope, it would put too much heat on the organization. He's lying. It would cut into his money. So he's like, nah, you can't kill Ghost now. Tommy's like, well, wait a minute. If I don't kill him and he finds out I'm awake, I'm done. Jason knows this is not true because he's already gotten Ghost on board to where he's not going to kill Tommy. But he's not going to tell Tommy, I'm protecting you and I'm protecting him, and both of y'all are paying me to do it. So now he tells Tommy, if you want extra security from Ghost, all you have to do is pay my men and we got your back. And Tommy's like, you know what? That's a good idea. So in other words, Jason is dipping. He's benefiting from both sides of the brothers acting stupid. Okay, can we talk about Tasha's jacket? That jacket is so fire. But anyway, so Tasha storms into the penthouse and she's like, wait a minute. She pretty much just spoke to Blanca, so she knows something is up. She's like, what happened to Terry? Pretty much James's whole attitude, he was like, how did you even get in here? I took your name off the list. You shouldn't even be in my house. He's just over it right now. She's like, you're taking my happiness, my freedom, my future. He was like, listen, Terry wasn't your future any more than Dre was. Now, he's just pretty much admitted to her that, I killed both of them and I don't care because you just not going to deal with them. So he can take her happiness, but in his narcissism, nobody can do that to him. So she's like, listen, you're going to pay me. He's like, I ain't giving you no money. I'm paying, Jason and them. I can't afford to pay you. She's like, listen, if you don't pay me, you'll be right back in jail. And he's like, no, you wouldn't do that to me. She's like, okay, well, call my bluff then. And he knows she's serious. So he's like, fine, I'm gonna pay you. Just leave and don't come back. Right, Tommy's excited and he took Tasha's advice. He's gonna, try to spoil his girl and be a little bit more, sympathetic to what she's got going on. He walks in the house with a gift, and it's a bag that Lakeisha knows she has only told Tasha about. So for Tommy to know exactly what bag to bring home, that means he was talking to Tasha. All hell's about to break loose. Once again, Braden has told somebody what Tariq had going on, their little drug operation. Now Effie's like, she's a girl at the on the campus, and she's like, listen, I want to meet Tariq. I want to meet this kid, and if I don't meet him, I will go to the dean about all of this. So now Tariq has to go meet her. So thugged out Tate manages to track down the guy who bum rushed his press conference, and he's like, pretty much, hey, Jamie for the old neighborhood. I mean, you need work. I can give you some work. He's gonna have that guy doing some undercover spying on Jamie. And once the guy leaves, Derek, he's like, wait a minute, you can't do that. That's illegal. Tate was like, well, why was he even in my press conference to begin with? I told you to fact check everything. And pretty much Derek was like, well, what are you gonna do? I mean, you can't fire me for it. I know all your business. And Tate was like, well, I won't fire you, but I'll surely whoop your ass. Across town, Jamie finds the dolphin that he gave Valdez a while ago. And he's getting ready for the funeral. I think right now, now it's just becoming real. So Paz is at the funeral home and they're with the body. And the question she asks is, were you trying to get him or were you trying to help him? Whose side were you on? Because she knows her sister definitely picked a side, but she doesn't know which one. And it's like, do you side with the side of right, quote unquote right, or quote unquote wrong, which might be right? So Paz is just dealing with a lot. Enters Paz's son and the funeral director, and he's like, sorry to interrupt. And she's like, no, I understand, because I have to settle my balance. He's like, no, it was taken care of. So she's like, well, in her mind, did Jamie do it? And he's like, no, that's not the name. So of course, naturally, she's gonna think it was Sax, because she told Sax about her financial situation. So she calls Sax up. As soon as Paz got on the phone, she asked him about the benefits, and he's like, no, there's no money, but don't worry, you'll be reimbursed. It's like he doesn't understand what it is to be down and out. And Paz is not in a position financially to do anything for her sister, in living or in death. So Angela was the one that had the money. She was the one that had the career. So Paz is like, it's just his lack of understanding and respect for her situation just shows all throughout. So she's sitting there with the phone from Tasha in her hand, and she's looking at it, and Sax is like, no, but once we wrap it up, we'll reimburse you. So pretty much, you just on your own until we figure this out. And he says, well, please tell me you found more information. And she's looking at that phone, and right then she could have gave Tasha and her sister up, but I think she knew. Everything is just pointing her in the right direction. She knew whose side she was to be on. So she was like, nope, I didn't find anything, and hung up the phone. Paz is not a stupid girl. She's figuring this thing out loud and clear. But she puts the phone inside the casket with her sister, and she says, your secrets will be buried with you. I think this is going to come back to bite them, but we're going to find out. So they're walking up to the funeral, and of course, narcissism Jamie thinks is about him, but Tasha's like, boy, boo. Then you got Sax at the funeral, and instead of dealing with that, he's still trying to dig for more information. But see, now the DEA tells them that they have Andre, and Angela gave them Andre in exchange for the Jimenez case. So now Sax is like, wait a minute, I want to know more. Mika's at the funeral, and she dropped the jewel on Sax that you need to get out of there while you can, but it's that hindsight that's 2020. So Tasha and James walk into the funeral, and Paz exchange looks with Tasha, and they kind of give each other a head nod and a thank you and you're welcome. She saw James and she just closed her eyes. It's just the end of it. Then bam, the ghost sees a ghost. Baby, when I tell you Tommy came up in that funeral kissing the babies and shaking hands, looking like an angel with that glow, I need to know what type of foundation and what filter they used on him, because he stepped so hard up in that funeral. I love it. I'm here for all the shits. So Ghost and Tommy are the only two that knows that he's the one that killed Angela. And now he knows Tommy's alive and he can't do anything about it. Tommy is sitting up there like he got on the white shirt and the black he just looks like the most devious, peaceful sinner in the face. I don't know. I just love it. Tommy had the look of death in his eyes when he looked at Ghost, but then he looked at Tasha and gave her a little heads up. He did the stare down, and then he exited stage left. And then Ghost had the nerve to say, "Hey, Tasha, did you know Tommy was alive?" She got the biggest smirk ever, talking about, "Yup." And the thing is, why would she not know he was alive? Because she just asked him the day before to leave Tommy alone, and that was his opportunity to say, "Hey, Tommy's dead." But he was playing like he was alive, so she did too. Boom. Now, let's be real. What good would Ghost be without Tasha? Now, Tariq's back at school, and see, Tariq is a little ghost, and he done found him a mini Tasha in the name of Effie. So, Lindsay Lohan has honored her agreement with Saks, and she has activated the unicorn. Meanwhile, Lakeisha's over there securing her position, showing that she's worthy. And Tommy gave her some earrings. He was so proud of himself because he actually picked them out. I think Tommy is on cloud nine. He just went and crashed the funeral, made his rounds, kissed the babies, and shook the hands of the priest. I'm loving this. I can't even lie. When I first saw this scene, I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, you know what? Ghost is a piece of trash to have them living in the slums like that. Then all of a sudden, the room opens up. These windows are huge. Boy, bye. They still good. So now Ghost is pissed because he knows Jason lied to him. And he's like, "Jason, you lied to me." Jason's like, "Well, I had to lie to you or you wouldn't kill Tommy." "No, I had to lie to you because I wanted to get your money." So, Jason's just playing all sides. And pretty much, Ghost is like, "Listen, I've got to kill Tommy. It's just going to happen." Jason like, "Listen, if you kill him, I can't stop you, but then you become my new distro because I have money to make." And, Ghost is like, "Wait a minute, I'm out the game. I'm not doing that." Jason, "I don't care what you thought you were doing. I'm telling you, if you kill Tommy, you are the new distro. So the choice is yours. And if, who better to kill him than you?" Oh, finally, Dre is back. Yay! And you can see the fear in his face. He's like, "Wait a minute, Angela's dead." And the only thing on his mind is Jimenez. That's all he sees. So here comes Jerry playing off of Dre's fear. And he's like, "Listen, just pack your stuff up. You're gonna testify tomorrow, and that's that." And Dre is freaked out now. He's nervous. He just wants to get up out of here. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen. But from the looks of Dre's face, after having that conversation, he's sitting here, and I wouldn't be surprised if on the next episode Dre runs, because the way this scene ended, I'm just not seeing the confidence in Dre's face when it comes to testifying. He's like, "Wait a minute, the Jimenez got Angela. I'm next. They're gonna get me," and that's that. Well, this was my take on season 6, episode 2. Please make sure that you subscribe and then hit the notification button so you can be notified of my next upload. And let's get ready for episode 3. Y'all have a great one.